So we were doing various methods last time. I want to say so methods are either void, meaning they don't return any data to who called them, or they're non-void, meaning they do return data to whoever called them. So void methods from last class are set GPA and set average. You remember we did those? Well, assuming you were here, those were two things we did last class. Those are void methods. You send information over, the method does something with it, but nothing comes back. Like you can just have that command on a line. You do Hayes dot or whatever your student object is. You set the GPA. So these methods act on the object, but they don't return any information. Same with the ones on the half sheet. Those things did things, but they didn't send any information back. We said thingy t equals new thingy, and then we called do a. It went over and did a, but it didn't. No information came back. So a non-void method means you have some information that comes back. We've already done some of these already, but I've made one that you're going to play with today. It's I made a frog. The frog can hop. I'm sorry, it's not animated. It's really boring, but we're going to do it anyway. Can I switch screens, or are we still writing this down? 30 more seconds. Yeah. So I've got a little class that I'm going to give you, day 10, and it has access to frog.java. So we're going to say frog Frank equals new frog. I don't think he takes a number. We'll find out. Frank.hop system.out.println Frank. This should work. If it doesn't, we'll work it out. Yeah, there's Frank. Frank's a little ampersand sign. Let's add a few more hops. You'll see what Frank does. So each hop moves Frank a little further to the right. And
should have been a snail.
These are actually, yeah, that's true. These are next year. These are void methods. Nothing's coming back from hop. So we'll get to a non-void method in a second. But I have hop 10. I have another method in there. You can hop it as many as you want. So now Frank's really covering the distance here. But I also, there is a non-void method in there, and it is frank.getLocation, if my memory serves me right. So I'm going to get rid of a couple of these because there's just so many. Now, getLocation is a little different from just hopping. See, the hopping, nothing shows up, nothing prints when you hop in the way I defined it. But we hopped once, twice, and then 10 times. And then right here, this Frank get location, that is, apparently there's a number associated with this frog, and it's Frank's location. Let's see what it is at the beginning. If we run it, if we do a print at the very beginning. So the location is 0 when you make a new frog, and then every time you hop, the frog goes forward. And then you can get, this is a non-void method, get location. And I'll show you what that looks like in here. Let's take a look. Here's a private integer called location stored inside Frank. I tried to keep it inside of the frog class. Here's the constructor. See, it says public frog. Remember, there's no no word here. It's just public frog. That's a constructor. Default frogs are at location 0. Here's public void hop. So this is a void method. It doesn't return anything. It just does the hop. And here's public void hop with an int. And it does location plus equals n. Remember, that's the same as location equals location plus n. That just means add this number to that number. And then this is our non-void method. It says right here what it's going to give you back. So public int get location. And then there's this word return. That you're always going to see that in a non-void method. That's what's getting sent back to who called this code. So if we go back to day 10, just right here, we made a new frog. We asked to get the location, and then look right here, we're doing something with that information. This is where that get location is, and it's inside of a print call. So you tend to want to do something with a non-void method. You don't just call it. I could call it right here. Watch this. Frank.getLocation. It's not going to change our output at all because it just calls it, gets the number, and then throws the number away because you didn't ask it to do anything with that number. Like this line is a little silly. When you have a non-void method, usually you would want to do something like int spot equals Frank get location to store it in an integer, or print it, or do branching, like, okay, if he's farther than 20 away from home, then we're going to tell him he needs to come back, or but for today we're keeping it really simple. So when you have a non-void method, you want to store that information somewhere or print it. It's fine just to print it. That's depends on what your program is trying to do. And lastly, there's one other method in here. I'll explain this on another day, but this is another method. It's called toString. That's how we're printing Frank, and you don't have to understand this code right now. It's a for loop. I'm doing a for loop to put all the dots out there, however many, where he's located, and then I print the ampersand at the end. So you'll learn about all this stuff in a couple weeks. But toString is anytime you have like your own creation, like a frog or that student class or a book, if you want it to print nicely, you have to make a toString, and that's like converting your object into a piece of text that could be printed. So this is a non-void method too, and it sends back a string. So it's automatically getting used when I say print Frank. Java calls the toString without me having to say. But I could actually, it doesn't hurt to say, well, if I spell it right, I could say it like that, and it'll do the same thing. But you don't have to when you're printing. All right, so I want to just reemphasize this, and then we're done for today. Constructors don't have a return type. See, there's nothing right here between the word public and frog. That's a constructor. And then we have void methods. Say void. That just means not that they're bad or dropping into the abyss of suffering and shame. It means that they don't send anything back after you call them. And then there's return. Then there's methods that have a return type. And we have two examples in the thing from today, int and string. I have a feeling, I think if you, just for kicks, let's try printing Frank Hop. I think it won't let us. Because it's a void type, right? And so Java's going to be like, print, what do you want me to print? There's nothing there. Yeah, it says void type not allowed here. See, I tried to do frank.hop. It's not some crime if you run into that area. You're like, oh yeah, Frank Hop doesn't give me anything to print, so I better not print it. I'll just put it on a line by itself. By the way, Frank can go places. I did not code Frank in a way that would support him going negative, though. So, I don't know. I think it just wouldn't, we're going to find out. I don't think it'll print anything. Yeah, it just prints the @ symbol. Frank doesn't have a specification that allows for negative movement. I mean, movement, yeah, but not before 0. All right, that's it.